The recording. It's okay.
We'll begin where we left off last time, and that was the party had just travelled from Alsassani to Arcadia through the use of the Mage Ring network. However, unfortunately, things seem to have gone wrong. Someone want to give a session recap?
And all eyes turn to Umber.
Umbra, go.
It didn't happen last week. The end.
It's true.
We spent about half of the session piss-balling about in a line, reading people's desires, blowing gusts of air into people's faces, and trying to take care of Jo Feel so she would stop telling her stories by giving her fake cotton candy. After getting looks from way too many people, having my detect desires dispelled because I let on that it was active, and paying our way, we eventually ended up finally getting to the Mage Ring network. Muse jokingly said about how everything could possibly go wrong, but it was such a slim chance that, oh wait, everything's just gone wrong. And apparently, boom, looking around, we're now in the abyss. Well, the whole situation did truly turn abysmal.
Oh my god, you deserve a slap for that one.
Snake Lady comes out and wham bam fears the shit out of everyone after burning half of them, and a bunch of people who didn't get decapitated make it out of the ring before we got sent to the abyss, or just ran straight away. Ran afterwards anyway. As Nur tried to want to save them, and even Gorthon ended up running away, if only for a few seconds before coming back. After holding this snake creature at bay for about half a minute, one of the other mages, magic users of some kind, who was also with the party, managed to get the Mage Ring back up and running and headed to our actual destination.
Or did they?
We got at least out of the abyss, but it turned out we actually ended up temporarily for a few seconds in the Badlands. In which, insert main rival from Kairoth and Nor's backstory.
Azayan.
Sorry?
Azayan.
Mm-hmm. Azayan's voice could be heard ringing out from nowhere and everywhere simultaneously, beckoning and challenging Kairoth. Well, just then general in fairness. In Kairoth's rage, he did a dum-dum and exited the Mage Ring, just as we ended up being taken to our actual destination. By the time we hit Arcadia, it was too late, and Kairoth was nowhere to be seen. And I believe that's where we left off.
That it was
the
indeed.
party bitching about how stupid he was.
Nur is swearing in Orin. Loudly. And angrily.
As the light from the sun kind of stops blinding you, you can see that you're standing in a large enclosed square. In a square between buildings, a large circle drawn on the ground, the Mage Ring, and you can see all around you in the sky there are towers rising up above into the sky. There is also a large number of mages standing around the circle various staves, wands, rods, orbs, all pointed into the circle. They all seem to be very on edge. You can see a figure starts to make their way towards, and the circle kind of breaks for a bit before closing up. And the figure approaches and says, "So, what happened here then?"
He just takes a deep breath and sigh. Well, it appears we took a journey to places we didn't really want to be. Care to explain how that happened?
Oh, pardon me. All that we know on our end is something went wrong with the majoring network. There was some interference or something.
That's one way to put it.
Well, I'm glad that we're all on the same page then. Because yes, something interfered. Heaven only knows what.
Well,
But let's just say we took a small trip to the abyss.
and
you
the
can-
Badlands.
You can see he almost raises an eyebrow at this and motions to another mage in the circle who waves his arms. You can see he's gesturing to cast a spell while muttering something under his breath. And you all feel yourselves compelled to speak the truth almost, and that if you tried to speak anything but the truth, you wouldn't be able to.
Damn, no will save?
Do you get a will save, or is it when it's cast or when you speak for a zone of truth?
When you enter the zone.
Yeah, you'd get a will save then.
Ba-da-boom!
Oh, I should probably open my character sheet for that.
Probably not. If only I was under the effects of glibness.
Ah, yes, when the spell is cast. My apologies. I thought it was whenever you first tried to speak.
That would be under defenses.
Yep, defense. Well,
Well,
10 plus spell level caster plus casting attribute. Yeah, Sarab and Nora are able to talk and tell lies.
if we wanted to.
If we wanted to.
Why would Sarab ever tell something that isn't the truth, though?
Why indeed?
And I told you that there was that the majoring network sometimes fucked up, and what happened? It did. I was meant to be joking, though. Ah, when practical jokes go wrong.
Yeah, he looks and says, as some of you seem to be capable of being aware of at least,
Can you choose to fail a saving throw?
yes,
I know you can
Yeah.
in 5e. Then Noah would have let it pass. Like,
you would have recognised that it's a zone of truth.
and I would have let it take effect on me.
Fair. He just looks at you and says, "My compatriot here just was casting a zone of truth. As I'm sure you're aware, we need to make sure that everything you say is true, considering if what you say is true, something might have jumped into the circle. So could you just repeat what you said last?"
The
Naturally.
circle misfunctioned. We ended up in the abyss. There was a demon. We kept it at bay. Some people ran off in fear. Couldn't do anything. Got back to the Badlands. Kairos was an idiot and walked out. And then we made it here. And I
We
am
did
so
lose one of our
angry.
compatriots due to this malfunction.
Lost one of your compatriots, you say?
Indeed.
Well, and a bunch of people we didn't know that also kind of got lost in the abyss. Doubt they'll make it long.
They're probably all dead.
They were all nobles and not exactly adventurer material. They are long dead. However, our compatriot was our strongest and ablest fighter.
You've lost your compatriot. Perhaps it would be best if you talked with a higher up then. It seems as though, judging by what the various spells cast here say, none of you do intend harm or come from the abyss, so... It seems as though it's clear to let you leave the circle. Since you say you've lost your compatriot, though, perhaps it would be best if you talked to one of the people in charge of the majoring.
I would love to.
I'm gonna turn to the... It was a tiefling that had been, like, reactivating the circle and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna turn towards him or her and thank them. Shortly, but politely.
They nod back and say they had some experience with teleportation before, so didn't particularly want to be trapped in the abyss either.
Good work there.
He lets the druid and the tiefling go, and he ushers you to follow him towards what he says will be the office of someone in charge of the majoring.
I'll follow.
Following.
He leads you through the building. You can see it's exquisitely decorated, lush carpets. Ah, yes. Also, as you are leaving the circle, you can see Joy grows angelic wings and flies off. She had been on...
What?
Joy seems to have taken, losing quite hard. She was on the ground praying all the time, and she just
Oh,
flies
that was
off.
Noah's reaction.
Oh.
Does she
Shit.
usually do that?
I've known her for a month, and most of my time has been spent playing practical jokes on her. I haven't seen her exactly the most serious, and you know how humans are like.
I didn't know people could do that. Like, I've seen a lot of people fly, but... Oh.
Don't think I've ever seen her do this.
Paladins, I've met a few that can do a similar thing. In fact, between you and me, I can do something similar myself, but that is for another time. I continue walking.
He leads you through the corridors. Glass which you think might be made out of crystal. Wood, mahogany, which seems to have been carved exquisitely. carpet with not a speck of dirt in them, until eventually you arrive at a large, intricately carved double wooden door, which he promptly knocks on, and you hear a voice from inside say, "Enter."
I'll set myself, and I'm going to pet the peacock.
That is, you get to bluff Aroni, isn't it?
Yeah.
You get a +4 bonus on bluff checks, and may substitute bluff for any intelligence-based skill.
Wow.
And I'm also going to be disguising myself as someone of a much higher station. Albeit my clothes don't match, but just the general presence and how I'm acting. So I don't know if you want to roll my... it's 29, disguise.
That's a big disguise. That has been noted down.
As in plus 29.
I am aware.
Okay.
That has been noted down.
Okay.
The meaning of life, the universe, and everything.
Alright.
Padger the Peacock is magic?
All my dances are magic.
Oh shit.
I only realised recently. Because I danced to create magical effects on myself.
That is important to know. But, pushing open the door, you can see that there is a rather finely dressed elf sat behind the desk, and then standing to the side over the room on the right, there is someone who looks human, and I believe it's another human. I'm trying. What do the two figures look like?
Piscari appears to be a human woman with long black hair, fair skin, wearing the outfit of an Arcadian noble. Seems to be someone very experienced in the station, carrying what appears to be a carved wooden staff with, and let me just check the exact description, because appears to be carrying a walking stick which has dark grey bark along its entire length, branched out into an ornate fork at its top, decorated with wildflowers and different kind of leaves. The only thing that seems slightly off about her is the fact that her eyes, where you'd expect, brown, green, or blue, are a deep red.
I'll say, and the other person.
Ray, I think this is you.
Yes.
You hearing?
Might be muted still in the car.
Yeah, she's got muted.
Pardon me.
Sorry, I'm in the house. Oh, baby. Other woman is very average. If you saw her in a crowd, you would pass right by her and then not give her a second look. Brown hair, brown eyes, thin, nothing much to her. She looks up, doesn't say a word, and just stares at you with seemingly no emotion to her face. Then just waits for you to talk.
I'll give a small courtesy.
You can see the elf behind the desk at this point just kind of speaks in this. Well, I hear you had some trouble with the majoring.
One way of putting it. Yes, some trouble. Indeed.
Ah, so these are the idiots that nearly broke my majoring network.
Oh, please. It is a pleasure to meet you as well. But please, do note that we were not in charge of anything to do with the mage network. We were merely passengers.
If you say you are such passengers, how about you explain exactly how we got warnings all across the board that something from the abyss was trying to come through?
Oh, that's quite a simple question to answer. Your majoring network decided to take us to the abyss. Thank you very much for that small detour.
The majoring network doesn't just decide to take you to an entirely other plane. What happened?
Oh, I'm sure it does not. That's why the people in charge of it must have.
It was none of our doing. Exactly what happened while you're in the circle? Something must have changed. Must have been some sign the circle wasn't taking you here to Arcadia. Because we just had to spend all of our best mages fighting to get you back.
To begin with, the colour went red, if that is to any note of your teleportation circles.
She stands up a little firmer, like straightens her back, leans more on her staff than she was as soon as you say that.
I hope you also have some form of compensation to many families back in not only Arcadia, but Kalsasani as well. There were a great many deal of casualties.
Rip Ray. Welcome back, Ray. That's not really my area of expertise. I just made sure that the circle runs properly. That will be... Minson, what's the dude's name?
Alfanza.
That'll be Alfanza here who has to deal with that, although... Well, I'll leave that up to the bureaucracy to handle. Carry on.
Well, we were taken to the abyss after that. After half of the individuals decided to run, some making it, some not. Halfway through the circle's perimeter does not bode well for the average body.
She's just shaking her head.
Please keep your arms and legs inside the rod at all times.
We then spotted something that was half snake, half a woman. Dark red skin and a spear that decided to attack us.
That's Knowledge Plains, right, Minton?
Yeah. I think it was a Malor?
Yes, it was. I was just making sure that Pascara would figure it out.
Yeah, it sounds like a Malor.
You're attacked by a Malodemon. That generally doesn't happen even on the occasions that we decide to venture to the abyss anyway. You said the circle was red. Was it still red at this point?
Sort of raise an eye to the times that we go to the abyss.
You've come to Arcadia. Surely you know that we venture all across the planes of the multiverse, exploring, gathering knowledge, artifacts, information, trading, yes, sometimes even fighting. Of course, we've ended up on pretty much every layer of the abyss.
I have spent many of my time here, yet I don't usually deal with planeswalkers.
You're not an Arcadian involved in the Mageing network. You wouldn't understand. Anyway, carry on.
Yes, the ring was still red. One of your mages was taking care of it. At least I assume they were one of your mages.
So that was the connection that we felt on the other side. You nearly burned out 30 of our best mages. Fortunately, I managed to get you back.
Again, we are not the responsible parties here.
You, the ring, whatever caused this. Exact terminology doesn't matter.
All it does to us is you're accusing us.
Accusing? No. Making just a generic statement.
We are the reason this thing, whatever it was, didn't get inside the teleportation circle.
And for that, you have our gratitude. I'm
Doesn't
trying to
maybe
figure out
sound
exactly
like
what
it.
the. I'm trying to figure out exactly what the hell went wrong so we can prevent it killing anyone else in the future.
Well, change your attitude first.
You can see the elf is
it is.
behind the desk, is just smiling, fairly amused.
So,
Unless you want more people to die, we need to know exactly what caused this. That means we need all of the information so that we can make sure that whatever the hell did this to the metering network cannot ever do it again. So I need to know what happened, what prevented it, and whether you found out what caused it. Because clearly there's a connection here.
Whoa there, Pascalia. You hear Alf.
She has no patience for this shit.
I have effectively the same facial expression as the elf at the moment.
I'm glad to see you guys are getting along quite well.
Given
In fact-
where we ended up afterwards, I have a theory.
Where was it that you ended up then?
The
We only had
Badlands.
Did you see anything in the Badlands? Anything that looked like a giant altar or something that could be interfering with the network? Or was there something else that you know that happened in the Badlands?
Was there any kind of altar or magical signs, or only Azayan's banners? DM
I
question.
mean, there, you could see like large, like silhouettes out in the sandstorm. Couldn't make anything out in particular, but it looked like there was the banners and fairly large things out there.
There was a sandstorm. It's always hard to see in sandstorms.
Naturally, unfortunate.
Silhouettes. And, well, a certain slaver's banner that I recently learned is someone who made a deal with a demon at some point. So,
Do you
there
happen
has
to know the name of this slaver?
Azayan.
Any particular spelling? I'm sure if we say it, Legend Law will know what to do. And she's glancing across at the elf behind the desk.
I give out the spelling.
Yeah, I wasn't sure whether no would know it. I'm sure those that can cast a Legend Law will know what to do with that if someone from the Badlands is interfering with the network. It seemed... You say he's a slaver. Do you or any of your group have a connection with him?
The one we lost.
That would do it. It seems like through whatever link he has with you, you say he made a deal with a demon. I would posit that they've taught him how to hijack the network, although it might be through his link with your erstwhile companion. Is he still in the Badlands, or do you not know? We can try and find out, but it'll take time as none of us have ever met him.
He walked out of the circle when we were in the Badlands.
How far out did he get? Was he completely out? Was he on the edge of the ring? He might still have gotten teleported but scattered.
He left. Do you have a mirror? An expensive mirror.
She glances over to the elf behind the desk.
He just kind of... I suppose we've got a mirror lying around somewhere. Is this a scrying mirror?
It would be, yes.
I'm not in charge of any sort of scrying myself, but I'm sure I could try and get one.
Would that be the archives or magic? What's the phrase? This is player forgetting phrase.
Yeah.
Magic focus. Would that be archives and magic focus storage? I can probably dimension door over there and get it.
Check the Department of Foci, though. You'd probably have to submit a short-term lease form, and then you'd also have... He just starts listing off form after form after form.
Paperwork. It's always the paperwork.
Just let me buy one. If it is that much trouble, I will be needing one myself anyway.
I'm sure you seem like you've been here before. I'm sure you remember the bureaucracy and the paperwork fine. Do you know the nearest store that happens to sell them? rather than trying to get one out of the cold hands of the department.
It's usually more fun that way, I must admit. Working the legal system is kind of my thing. But I suppose we are.
I heard just last week someone that tried to force their way through the bureaucracy had a. What was it you called the ring, Minton?
A ring of bureaucracy.
Someone who tried to force their way through had a ring of bureaucracy forced on them. I don't particularly want to see them use one of those again.
What is that?
Anytime you want to cast a spell, you have to fill out, submit, and have the paperwork filled out and sent back to you, which... Well, the legend goes that one of the original founders of Arcadia is still waiting for his paperwork to be published to this day, as he wanted to prove just how ridiculous the system is.
Nora's looking slightly horrified.
Basically, the country operates on bureaucracy, pretty much. It's either the freedom to do whatever you want in terms of relaxing, or a load of bureaucracy. One of the founding...
Nora's looking slightly horrified.
one of the founding mages, to prove how stupid the bureaucracy was, submitted a form which is to this day still being processed. This form has been processed for a good couple thousand years.
He managed to create an infinite paperwork loop.
Typical. Very well, the shop it is, since we're hell-bent on time.
Yes, before you go, our fund starts to speak up. Since it seems as though you have some, connection to this person who rather brutally made their way into the mage ring, or attempted to at least. Piscaria, you know how you wanted to take some holiday?
Oh, are you finally willing to approve my request for the Mage's Tower with these excellent volunteers?
How delightful.
Oh, it'll be fun. It's a Mage's Tower a few hundred miles out of Arcadia, get you out of the city, make sure there's no heat put on you, then when we come back, no one will remember what happened with the Mage Network, because news has moved on, and the people involved have mysteriously gone and done something else. It's an adventure. I've been wanting to get my head out of the paperwork for a while.
Small, subtle lip curl showing just partial amount of bang. Delightful.
Obviously, you don't have to go along with what she says if you don't want to, but anyway, yes, Piscaria, you're on indefinite holiday until you're needed back. The only condition is you have to stay within, line of sight of these fine, wonderful people.
Within line of sight, but that means that I've got to sleep in the same room rather than get to my own quarters. Surely it'd be more efficient if I just have to make sure that they don't go to running off alone. Or would that require Form 1865B about exact parameters of... Whatever, you know the form I mean.
Yeah. He just kind of smiles and then just looks back to the rest of the group and is... So it seems as though you have at least some sort of link to whoever managed to force their way in, so take Piscari here as some sort of backup, nor failsafe just in case this fellow tries to get into the ring again. Piscari should hopefully, he just kind of glances, be able to deal with it if the situation does arrive. And also take Lavender here. She's
Or my belt on.
In just a second.
That was Lavender's voice.
yes. She's not able to use magic, so unfortunately she is a mundane, though she's vaguely competent at whatever mundanes do, I guess. things with sticks? I'm not
She's
sure.
very good at hitting things to make sure they don't get up again. Very useful occasionally when dealing with things outside Arcadia, though. Last I checked, you haven't submitted a holiday request in 86 years, so I'm not sure you'd remember what that feels like. Anyway, I think we'll be taking our leave now.
Oh, no. Take Lavender with you as well, just as extra muscle in case anything does.
Oh, when I said us, I was already including her. I'm sure you can deal with the clean-up and get all the other mages working on each individual part of the network. I'm sorry that you've just put one of your main engineers on indefinite leave. Seems like they're going to have to do my job for me. How unfortunate.
You can see he just kind of gives a smile, but it's the obvious smile where behind it is just a grimace. as you can just see just the many different forms. He just reaches down under his desk. Form. The pile's like a solid couple of centimeters thick.
I turn to the party and mutters quietly. And this is why I usually only stick to the libraries in Arcadia or Laestris.
I mean,
Lavender goes back and seems to pick up a cloak off the rack in the back and then goes and puts it on. She was just wearing somewhat looking like ceremonial more armor, and before she puts the cloak on, and remains just to stand there.
Once we get back from the tower, if there's still too much attention on you, I'm sure that I could get us over to Laestris. It's not a particularly difficult teleport. I've been there quite a lot myself.
I could do with a holiday.
Tower first, I've been wanting to explore it for so long. Then we'll get to your holiday. And I assume you came here for pleasure, not business.
Actually, this is kind of a shot in the dark, but anyone here ever heard of a woman named Nereid?
How powerful was she as a mage, or as a magical creature, or as a mundane? I wouldn't know. We have people who can try and find out where she's at. I haven't heard the name myself, but you're in Arcadia.
Shot in the dark.
If you can get a name, perhaps a general description, race, that kind of thing. I'm sure I've got the form somewhere in here for submitting a legend lore request.
Nora's looking kind of awkward.
You can see the Alfonso sort of peaks up interest when you say Nara, and he's like, Nerea. She was a mage, I think.
I actually do not know.
How long ago would it have been that she passed through here?
About 60 years?
I'm too young to remember. You might, sir.
The name rings a bell. As you say, it's been 60 years. I think she was working on something. You might be able to find the name in the archives, maybe.
Want me to expedite that legend lore request with your seal just in case?
Yes. If you, I'll do that as a thank you to the rest of the group for having to babysit Pescaria.
She just rolls her eyes. Here's the form. For once, I'm not going to help you fill it in. Have fun. You know how to contact me.
So, are we babysitting you, or are you babysitting us?
Or are
That
we all
wasn't clear.
babysitting Lavender? That is the question. Anyway, let's get out of here and go find a shop and pay a visit to the archives. I'm on indefinite leave. I shouldn't really be in the building much longer than I have to. Plus, this paperwork's going to be tedious. Let's start walking. And she just starts leaving the room.
Lavender doesn't show any motion and just follows behind her.
I lean towards Nova, with earshot of Gorthon as well. I get a feeling we'll be babysitting these two.
That's fine with me.
Just shaking my head.
Natural 2. Did it on purpose.
Sure.
Yeah, we'll follow. Or I'll follow anyway.
Yeah, I'll follow too.
Minton, approximately how far away are the archives? Or the nearest shop that would sell a scrying mirror?
Near a shop, the office was in the main mage ring, so if you head on down...
Distance. Is it within 900 feet?
Yeah.
And there's Sarab, Nur, Gorthon, Lavender. Toby's in the bag of holding, so I can dimension door?
Yeah, you could dimension door,
Up to 4 other people, I believe, at this level.
Which is, yeah, exactly 4.
It's true.
Once we're outside the office, just kind of reach out, hand that's not holding stuff. You want to get to, which is it, shop or archives first?
I only need to pick up a mirror. You're wanting to find out more information about your mother?
I suppose finding out what happened to Kai is a bit more time pressing.
Shop, then. Take hold.
Blink.
I'm familiar with the spell, so I go along without much. Actually, I'm gonna run a quick insight check, just roleplay wise.
Where does
On
anybody have...
Piscaria's intent.
Why walk when we can just take a step down there?
Skills.
It'd be sense motive.
A sensitive, yeah.
Oh no, my magical bluff.
Are you going to the main... The main shopping district
Yeah.
might be like...
Probably a place to
Sorry,
pick up
your magical circle thing just sent us through the abyss in the Badlands. I am a
It's
bit
true,
on
actually.
edge.
This is Dimension Door, not Magic Circle.
I know. Like
This
I
is
said,
too small
this
to be
isn't.
interfered with.
Yeah, no, this isn't like Nora
Stars
talking.
getting
This is
star
Mia
magic.
talking, just checking the intent, checking that Piscaria isn't like looking to take us into another trap or something.
Fuck that noise. I can't get off another plane if I end up there.
Joke's on you guys, we're plane shifting to Abaddon.
Yeah, no. Because I can't get away, because I can't get out of there. I don't... Yeah, anyway.
If only
This would
Nora
be,
took Shadow Walk.
You said nearest store that I would know that sells a scrymer is within 900 feet, right?
It doesn't get you exactly there, but it saves you walking 250 meters.
Because, yeah, my dimension door range is 880 feet.
880.
880?
You'd still have to walk for like another 10 minutes.
I mean, I could just dimension door again.
Yeah, just do it twice, fuck it.
We're in Arcadia, why walk?
Dimension door, dimension door, dimension door.
So I'm dimension dooring twice.
Yeah, that gets you there.
Oh no,
What does my
two of
mine
my
say
4th level spell
840?
slots. Have you upped your caster level?
Oh, is that depending on your caster level?
Yes, it is.
Oh, okay,
What's
so mine should be the same. I just didn't bother to change it on my sheet.
Where did we stop at the central point? From after the first dimension door? After the first dimension door, where did we pop out? Done again.
Oh, you popped out on a street corner. It's fairly busy, I'd say. You
Not
see
some
there are
random
just...
person's front room then, no?
Oh, no. It's just a street corner. You can see there are crystal lamps hung up. They don't seem to be glowing, but you can reckon they glow during the night. There don't seem to be many people walking. Some mages just seem to, be floating. Some seem to be riding on, levitating discs. You notice, a few people are walking, but they seem to, not be able to cast spells and are generally given, quite a wide berth.
I mean, technically, I still have elemental body up and mage armor. So I can fly too. But I'm walking.
Fly doesn't last long enough for me to bother when we're just teleporting. Anyway, come out onto the street corner, just immediately just step through another dimension door to the store.
You see a fair amount of mages are just doing that. You see some people just blink into existence, sort of just look around and blink out again.
Actually, how long do those spells last?
I wonder how often two people blink into each other.
It's like, instead of the awkward, the left-right kind of thing where you keep getting in each other's way, it's just keep blinking next to each other, oh, sorry, me, you again.
It's just they're walking down the street, blinking in and out.
The awkward, oh, see ya, and then blink to the same spot down the street and go, oh, shit, I didn't realize we were going the same direction.
Well, actually, elemental body's probably down by now.
But anyway, we end.
It seems as though every mage is just trying to make their life as easy as possible. Blinking in front of the shop, you can see fairly small, but it's just got mirrors in front of it. Mirrors, pieces of glass, symbols. You can see it seems mostly for divine focuses, divination focuses.
Well, here you are, closest door to the main the matron building that sells scrying mirrors and such foci.
So I was DCing to shit there.
This guy said, so here you are, closest store that sells the foci you're looking for.
I give a nod and I head inside.
You head inside, and as you walk through the door, you can hear a small bell ringing. Looking around, there doesn't seem to be any bell, but...
Alarm spell.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Should have seen that one coming.
And you can see a fairly old-looking elf with long grey hair comes out from comes out from the back of the store and stands behind the front desk. Welcome to the scrying sheets. How can I help you?
Greetings, sir, in Arcadian.
He returns. Hello. How was your day in Arcadia?
I have just arrived. Unfortunately, it's been a rough morning, shall we say. I won't spare the details. I'm looking for a scrying mirror.
Scrying mirror, you say? How big? What size?
Preferably enough to keep on my person with ease, but still suitable enough to meet the spell's requirements.
He just sort of strokes his chin, thinking, I think I've got just the one. He reaches down behind the desk and produces a relatively small one. It's big enough to see. It's about the size of your head.
Okay.
Would this suffice?
If that is the smallest size you've got, then it most definitely will suffice.
Ah, yes. Well, this is the smallest size that.
Right, Bry. Welcome back, Bry.
This is the smallest size that means that the spell doesn't have a chance of failing. Due to the mirror.
Then it will be perfect. Thank you. How much will that bring me to?
How much is a mirror normally? It's about.
It says it's a silver mirror worth 1,000 GP.
Ah, that'll
there
be
you go.
that will be 1,000 GP.
It says worth 1,000 GP, but what is worth in the grand scheme of things?
What truly are material costs in a society where everything is provided for by the state?
Exactly.
The answer to that is stop asking questions or you go to Gulag.
I am in no mood to be bartering this morning after the day I have had. I take out 1,000 gold from my coin purse in my haversack and hand it over.
He takes it, weighs it on a set of scales, and then, thank you very much, and hands you the mirror.
I should also ask the same courteous to you. How has your day been, good sir?
It's been relatively nice. The sun is shining as it normally is. You don't get much sun inside here, but luckily you can point to the mirrors to reflect the sunlight in.
Naturally. Well, I must be going, so I bid you farewell, and good fortune on the rest of your sails.
And good fortune on your scrying. He returns with a smile.
I thank him once again. Well, I mentioned the entire conversation was Arcadian, but I thank him, and turn around, probably saw Nur is nodding along and understanding everything.
It seems like Nora understands.
Oh, and I totally realised that Noah was casting comprehend languages, right?
Yeah, you totally knew that.
I mean, with that spellcraft check, I sure hope so for a level 1 spell that is rather common.
Who needs to cast spells when you have this helm?
Who needs to cast spells when you speak Arcadian? And, like, a million other languages.
Well, I don't.
Well, I have my mirror now, so the decision is yours. I can begin scrying now, but I would like some privacy. It will take an hour, and even then it might not succeed. Knowing Kairoth.
Anything we can do to help? I have no talent for divination other than, well, things like comprehend languages, which is hardly divination.
You say you'd like some privacy. Would the quiet of the archives help? As I believe your companion here was wanting to go and do some research.
If I can get a spot in there that will work, then yes, that will also work.
Oh, I spent days working on minor projects in there before. Yeah, there's tables to the side, there's booths, there's all sorts of things that you can get for privacy.
I have a question for Noor. Can you cast any form of image or illusion to give me a picture of Kairoth? I would do it myself, but I cannot concentrate on two things at once.
It really isn't my forte. I am much more evocation based. I'm checking my spell list, but I really don't think I have anything that would help.
Illusion's the one skill I have basically none
Didn't
of.
they have a napkin that had a sketch of them two on it?
Oh yes, they did.
Oh, Gorthon has that, doesn't he?
Wait, what?
Gorthon has a napkin that has a sketch of Joy and Kion,
Yep.
but it's up to him if he wants to share that.
Oh yeah, shit, you guys. that was at the massive banquet you guys had, wasn't it?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Since I'm pretty sure I don't have a body part, lock of hair, bit of nail, etc. from Kai, I'm not into that. I don't have a possession or garment of his.
You sure?
Barely.
All the time that they spent traveling together, you really reckon Kai never would have lent her something? Anything?
That she kept.
Point.
I will take that as no.
So my best bet is a likeness or a picture of them.
Stick figure.
Cost you $1,000.
I'm quite alright then.
Just hand it over anyway.
I'll pocket it for the time being. Then let us head to the archives so I may have this piece.
Distance to the archives, Minton?
Probably like 1,600, if not more feet. It'd be like 2 or 3 dimension doors away.
I've only got 6 of them. Fuck it.
Is that a walk or
Honestly, how long? God damn it! Mount only gives me a mount.
Yeah.
Oh, I think we're walking.
Oh.
Yeah, because mount is also personal.
You're back.
Okay.
Yeah, I think there's like mass mount or something stupidly named like that.
Yeah. Casually changing all my spells to be 1 minute or like 1 round extra because I leveled up. I forgot to change those.
Yeah, I guess we're gonna walk through the city, and as we do so, just sort of be pointing out places of interest, well-known places, places to avoid, that kind of thing.
Lavender's walking behind everybody.
All right, back there, Lavender. I know you don't much get out into the city, but
She just nods.
May I ask, why is it that they call you Lavender?
She just stares at her and does not answer her.
One even quieter than Kai. Very well.
so walk through the city. I'm probably using Mage Hand to point out things of interest.
in terms of interest, got the magic crystals. You have the main council of mages, which is on a load of floating crystals in the sky. You have the airship docks, also floating with teleportation circles to get up to them. Other less interesting things are also there, but the journey takes you about another 15-20 minutes before you arrive at the archives. Seems to be a fairly large but bland-looking building. Dull greys and browns. You know that basically you head inside and then there's a main desk where you can submit your requests.
So, paperwork is how this works.
Paperwork.
Yes, for the books that you're looking for, the scrolls and references you're looking for, I can try and expedite it, but yes, we're going to need to fill in a little bit of paperwork. As for the private space to cast scrying, yeah, I'm sure there's a request form somewhere.
Tell me the paperwork can be filled in common.
Kind of glance over it, it's like, you think I don't have a cantrip for that? With the amount of paperwork I have to do on a daily basis just to keep the majoring network running?
Thank you.
Vincent, I'm assuming I could use prestidigitation for that.
What, filling out paperwork?
Yes.
Providing you have a quill and some ink, yes, you can prestidigitation some paperwork. I will allow this.
I'm going to head on over to the main desk then. And don't know whether Gorthon would particularly care, but gonna sort of gesture for Sarab and Noor to join me.
I follow.
Behind the desk, you can see that there's a fairly bored-looking figure, pale blue skin and solid white eyes, who just looks and goes, "Yes, can I help?"
Blue skin?
Pale blue skin and white eyes.
Yep.
What
Is
knowledge
that-
check?
Yeah, what kind of check to recognize that race?
Knowledge Arcana?
Okay.
Or knowledge religion, I'd ought to let that go.
I'll take Arcana.
I
Yeah,
rolled a
same.
2. So many 1s and 2s.
Pescaria and Sarab
Damn, that one off.
I
That
rolled
one
a
off.
2.
would recognize this figure as a Samsaran.
Interesting.
That doesn't help player either, so
I mean, I'm sure I know
I'm
him.
fine with that.
Effectively, a Samsaran can never die. When it's a humanoid who, whenever they die, is reincarnated.
Cool.
They retain their past memories, but they're really like vague. You basically get like feelings of deja vu.
Interesting. Yeah. So need a few request forms looking for temporary renting of a private booth with enough space and lessened restrictions to be able to cast spells, including but not limited to scrying, and also request forms for access to scrolls and books related to. What was her name again? I don't want to get it wrong.
Neray. And I spell it out. As much as I would. Yeah, I would know how to write it.
They just
There's also a legend lore request form being expedited to your desk, but that will take time. You know how bureaucracy is.
Of course. And she says, reaching under the desk, just pops down all the forms. You've got the room booking form, the knowledge request form, the scrying request form.
Gonna prioritize the stuff related to the private room and the restrictions lessened so that scrying can be cast using prestidigitation, take out my own quill and ink and just fuck you, I'm using magic to do this form. And then I'm doing the knowledge form as well as processing those.
Fair.
And on each of them, I'm assuming she'd have something just like a little seal just to mark who she is that I'm going to hand mark the forms with.
Yeah, you'd have something similar.
Yeah, and I just mark them with personal symbol before handing them back. I would
Most people,
appreciate if these could be expedited to immediate action rather than having the usual delay. I'm sure if you check my authority and access, I have the right.
she just looks at the seal, reaches under the desk and produces an expedition request form.
I just give her a look, prestidigitation, stamp that one as well.
I'm gonna cast message on Piscaria and ask her, aren't you on leave officially?
Leave here in the League means that we can do pretty much whatever we want, although I still have my rank and status. I only got the privileges to expedite to immediate down here 3 weeks ago. I needed it for some immediate maintenance on the majoring.
Being on leave just means you get to do whatever you want, rather than doing what your boss tells you to.
Nora is wondering because, seems like she's using work privileges while not doing work. But,
Welcome
she's like,
to the League.
Whatever.
Welcome to the bureaucracy. I'd love to show you more, but I need to fill out a form to do
what
that.
little she's learned about the way people work in society outside of the Badland is being completely changed around her again.
To make it clear, Pescara's attitude to the paperwork has very much been, fine, I'll do it because I know I have to, but I'm going to make it as painless as possible for me and obnoxious as possible for the other person. Just because fuck the stupid system.
I mean,
She'll jump through the hoops, that doesn't mean she likes them.
if the receptionist didn't like you, she would have asked if you wanted your expedition request form expedited.
It's a good thing that she likes me.
Guess what happens if you want an expedition request form expedited?
You have to fill in a form?
You have to fill in an expedition form.
This form's all the way down. But I imagine there's also sort of a social, political, almost game with it, where it's like there's still a bit of a back and forth between filling it out and giving the forms to other people.
Oh yeah, I mean, there are loads of people who are like, oh god, I've got to fill out like 50 forms, but that look of pure happiness on their face when they give you like a pile of paper which would like kill a puppy if you dropped it on it. I mean, when you have to basically, when Mage Hand cannot pick up the pile of papers, you know that's a good pile of papers.
Normally I wouldn't bother with the additional expedition forms, but I know how life is. Plus I finally got my leave request approved, so I'd like to actually get out of the city and get my head away from the paperwork upstairs. I'm sure you remember how it is.
Yes. Well, you filled out these forms. I'll send them off, and then we'll see. If you take a seat in the waiting room whenever the paperwork's been approved, get that back to you. You can see she just takes the forms, folds them up, and then drops them in a brazier. Is that how you say it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, brazier.
Yeah, in a brazier, burning with a bright green flame.
Blue powder. Anyway.
I'm familiar with that, aren't
The glorious bureaucratic brazier.
I? Yeah.
Yee.
From rumour and hearsay that I've heard about, right?
The glorious brazier.
And I just sort of lead into the waiting room, and I'm sure there's like magazines or something that Pascal would read in her spare time.
I mean, there's
Or like a history book on some interesting ruin.
Yeah, there's basically here are the interesting ruins around here.
As I enter the waiting room, I just mage hand pick it up.
Interesting developments in magic in the last 200 years. Basically, most of these books are like the driest books you could find in a library.
Mage hand the one about interesting ruins, just pick it up, grab it, and cast read magic on myself and just kind of relax in a chair while we wait for the forms.
I have nearly all of the time in the world. And I spent the last 24 hours waiting and waiting.
You
Yep.
remember how it is here in the League. I can't rush the paperwork more than I already have, even with my new privileges. I don't think we've been properly introduced. You know my name. You know Lavender's his name. I don't think we know yours.
You can call me Muse. Dancer by trade, adventurer by hobby. More of an advocate of fine wine and dances, balls, and that kind of thing, than going outside into the wilderness.
You've been to Arcadia before, right?
I have.
Minton?
What's that?
And I back it up with a nobility.
But if you recognize me being around,
Yeah.
don't think I've really made enough of a name of myself.
Not really.
Fair enough. We'll just kind of, do I happen to know anything?
I mean, you might have heard the name, but then you're like, now was that Muse someone, or is that Muse as in the Muses? As in, like... It's like... You're like, there are a lot of things called Muse. It's... You're looking at like level 15 when you can start to use knowledge history and knowledge nobility on people.
I was just checking.
Oh well, on party members even.
I don't know what shit Sarab has stirred in Arcadia in the past.
She's usually rather good in Arcadia.
Sarab is good little vampire. You know.
My name is Nor, and unlike Muse here, I am more used to the outdoors than the indoors.
I remember you mentioned that you knew a slaver from the Badlands. Native?
This is where I grew up, yes.
Not often I meet someone from the Badlands. My days getting curiouser and curiouser. What was that? Sorry, Amber? I talked over you.
I said not often that you meet two in one lifetime.
And the second of you is from the Badlands?
The one that is missing.
Ah, unfortunate. And you, Elf?
Hobbit?
Happy.
He said he'd be right back, so I don't think he's back yet.
Yeah, it was a while ago. I was hoping he'd be back. Guess not.
I guess
How
he
long
would
do
at least give you his name.
How long do we end up waiting, Minton?
Oh, it's like a solid hour.
I've just realised. I'll probably bring up Cerule out of my shadow. I hope you're not afraid of any undead. This is my companion.
Yeah.
So,
A couple of my friends are necromancers. Sentient or
quite so.
does it make your acquaintance, Cyril? Nods her head in Cyril's direction as she says that.
She'll give a nod back. Turns back to Muse. You can usually stay around, I'm sure. They don't usually mind our kind.
A couple of my friends are necromancers. I'm used to undead.
White
I don't know why they
necromancers, I
bother.
take it.
It's degrading. What's that, sorry?
White necromancers, I take it.
Whatever as they call themselves these days. White necromancers, using the undead for the good. making deals for people to use their bodies after they die, going through all the hoops and jumps. I say I don't know why they bother. Too much time, too much effort, too much paperwork, but what they enjoy, who am I to judge? You seem like you're fairly well travelled. Anyone speak any more interesting languages than Arcadian and Common?
Not at all, unfortunately.
Wait,
little.
did you just say that you don't speak them?
I did indeed just say not at all.
Piece of shit.
Do I really even need to roll bluff?
Yes.
How disappointing. What languages do you speak? I've normally get a chance to exercise the other tongues. Welcome back.
Welcome back. Only Oran. I reply in Oran.
Ah. A language that I really wish I had more chance to practice. Speaking for Sora.
Let me actually check. I think I might have Elven also, but it's not quite. I have no idea what that is. Core?
Cool.
Yeah.
Come on, Oran, Elven, and Aquan. So I would say.
I can't match you in
also.
Aquam. Yeah,
You
language that I
see-
can't match you in.
You see Nora slightly smile. Although she's still kind of, well, no longer as angry as she was before, but annoyed at all the waiting.
I can't wait to get out of this city and get out into the world to where we don't have to deal with the bureaucracy and all the paperwork. It's part of the reason why I've been wanting this holiday to the Mage Town for so long. It means that we don't have to spend any time doing papers. I already had it approved 6 months ago on the proviso that I get at least 3 other casters to join me. There's apparently rules and regulations say that we're not allowed to damage the property without at least a couple other magical capable things. I'm not allowed to go there alone. Paperwork. I'm so sick of the system. Let me get out of this stupid city. Anyway.
I've been grooming myself with a new mirror I've been getting while she was ranting.
I'll cast Breeze on you just to ruffle your hair.
Hold person.
Oh, I get a save for that?
Yeah.
Actually, I'm going to counterspell that.
What are you counterspelling?
The whole person.
Still gotta make a roll.
Oh, that wisdom. No, it's not a wisdom save, it's will save. Safe self.
So that's a spellcraft check to identify, right?
Yep. I mean, I'm fairly certain. Yeah, you identify. I'm fairly certain Nora resists it anyway, doesn't she?
Willpower of 18. Pff, no.
Oh shit! What's the DC?
20.
Oh, that's a proper. Yeah. Okay.
I don't have whole person prepared, so what level spell is?
Level 2.
Oh no! Expended level 3 spell slot.
Plus I have to make it a spell check. Now I have to check how that works.
You make a. You just literally roll a concentration check. I think.
1d20 plus your cast level, compare that to spell with the highest caster level that's targeted to spell. I can spell. It's a spell check to counter the other spellcaster spell, so it's 1d20 plus caster level, so 1d20 plus 12.
And you have to beat, I believe it's 29.
For me, what is it? 11 plus caster level? My caster level? Which is 9.
Spell's caster level.
She's probably gonna do it.
Nope.
Whole person goes off.
Hold person does go off.
And I continue. And by the way, that's not concentration. That's, she's like that for.
Oh, I'm frozen, but I'm smirking.
As I put my hair back to how it was. Oh, you get to like do 8 more saves, or like 9 more saves. You'll probably get out eventually.
Yeah, pretty fast,
Yeah.
actually.
Damn it! I was also trying to eat your spell for a bonus point in my spell pool.
Yep.
I just laugh.
No hard feelings, no.
No, I started it.
Now, what was that you did, Pescaria?
Oh, and if you're tracing my time, I know how to. Okay, I fucked it up. I was a bit too distracted with my book. Whatever excuses. I know how to interrupt other spellcasting. I can craft stuff like the headbands we all seem to be wearing. I can make my spells more potent if I really want to. Or I can, if I need to, hide exactly what it is that I'm casting.
I believe I need to pick that last trick up.
Most of the wizards and sorcerers in the league don't really agree with my form of magic, but fuck them. Unless any of you happen to have a spell book. Unfortunately, I'm not sure how much I can teach. I'd be very interested if any of you do, though. I need to acquire more spells.
Alas, no.
Sorry, magic's in my blood, kinda literally.
Ah, yes. I think all of us except the elf and Lavender here have innate spellcasting.
Oh no.
Kind of giving a look at Sarab.
Wait, what was it you said? When giving me a look?
More kind of all of us here except Lavender and the elf have innate spellcasting.
Actually, I look at Gorthon and gauge his reaction.
That's me, player, thinking, I don't think elves have innate spellcasting.
Oh,
They don't, no.
I cast spells.
It's not
you're
innate.
right.
It's just
Elves are innately magical, however, whether that
magical
power
but can't
manifests.
cast. No, can't cast innately. They've got magic resistance and they get bonuses on their spells to overcome spell resistance. I think.
Still magic beings.
When she says innate magic, she means ability to cast innately, and that's kind of giving a look at you trying to figure out what race you are.
Oh, I haven't been hiding it, being in the
Okay,
league.
fair. And yeah, and she says it without the more questioning. I think all of us except the elf and Lavender have innate spellcasting.
I travel around. It makes no real difference. I'm not quite as an elitist as some others are.
I don't agree with those in society that think that only those who can innately cast and are powerful arcane casters are worth the time. As much as mundanes, unfortunately, don't have most of what you need to succeed here in the league, that doesn't make them any less interesting. No offense meant, Lavender.
It's probably Lavender's reaction. As it's been
Yep, that's exactly Lavender's reaction.
Lavender just is quiet.
Do I want to switch any spells? Yeah. Actually, I'm going to pull out my spell book and I'm going to use Quick Study and spend another point. And I'm going to swap Identify for Detect Secret Doors. I can do that. Class features. Exploit Quick Study. The Arcanist can prepare a spell and place an existing spell by spending 1 point from Arcane Reservoir. Using this ability is a full round action that provokes an attack of opportunity. Arcanists must be able to reference the spellbook when using this ability. Spell prepared must be the same level as the spell being replaced.
You don't detect any hidden doors?
No, he's meaning
I'm swapping it, not
preparing.
casting it.
Oh. I'm like,
I had Identify prepared, I've swapped it for Detect Secret Doors.
okay.
Because I wasn't today expecting that I'd actually be able to go on an adventure outside the city, so I had Identify.
Okay, I should probably just say right now, I've never looked at Arcanist because I don't feel like learning like 7 classes in one.
Also, by the way, since Hobbit was away, Piscaria did end up asking us to if we were going to introduce ourselves. But you were away when Gotham was asked.
Hi, I'm Gorthon.
We called it like a book. He'd give his name and that was it.
Gorthon doesn't particularly like this woman. Her attitude just.
And she was more hostile because, the majoring network that she works on had kind of just been fucked up, and she wanted to figure out whether it was you guys or something else that needed to be fixed.
She was actually less annoying during the moment you were AFK.
Well, I didn't see that part.
So, do we actually get through our waiting time then? Or do we kill ourselves out of boredom?
I spent the time just flicking through my book, looking to see whether there's any other ruins of interest beyond this mage tower.
There is some, it's mainly just,
But preferably those near the mage tower so we can really make an adventure out of it.
there's a vaguely abandoned natural research facility. There's a Be an Adventurer Experience Day. Treasure included.
Wait, what?
There's a
Be
Be
an
an
Adventurer
Adventurer
Day.
Experience Day. Have you ever wanted to be an adventurer but not wanted to risk your life? Well, now with our new Become an Adventurer Experience Day, you can.
Treasure comes included.
That's amazing.
It's literally an advert for an experience day for people who want to be adventurers but don't want to risk their life.
That's amazing.
As much as I'd love to do it, I think we'd all be bored.
I really don't understand you people.
It sounds like one of those things that you'd end up doing with just a group of friends, get absolutely blathered, and then do it just to take the piss.
Alright, you twisted my arm, let's go.
If I remember correctly, I did one of those a couple of decades ago, and I don't know. Pescara looks like she's in her early-ish 20s, and she's saying she did a couple of decades ago. A couple of decades ago, yeah, we kind of got very, very drunk, and then I think the final creature was disintegrated.
Nora
weren't
in
very happy with
human
us for that.
ages, she's not gonna take it all. She's bad with human ages, so...
Humans live until they're like 230, right?
Like, I don't know, they grow up fast, sometimes they grow old, sometimes they don't, it's weird.
It's more to figure out whether Sarab notices the fact about innate spellcasting, where I did it a couple of decades ago. It's really not worth the time. If I remember correctly, the treasure was, 8 copper, 6 silver, and a gold piece each? I think I still have the copper somewhere.
I suppose I'm gonna do this just for my own sanity's sake.
Swear we'd really
Oh,
recommend Tutorial Island.
Because I'm bored, I'm gonna detect magic.
Would you like some room with your magic?
Would you like some, like, what's the range on it?
The 60 feet.
I mean, we're just in a waiting area, right?
You're in Arcadia.
Yeah.
Probably wards everywhere.
There's wards, you can detect the brazier, the door has anti-draft on it, the walls have slight heat enchantments to keep, the place nice temperature-wise.
I was bored.
And what was the sense motive for?
You're not human.
I'm not exactly hiding it very well.
No, I was just making sure I'm going to say it, man. You don't
I'm
strike
not
me.
exactly hiding it very well.
Yeah. You don't strike me to be the type to maybe drink at a formal occasion, but not to get drunk.
I was young a couple decades ago. Yeah, still am young based on the standards.
How old are you?
Closer to 70 than 60.
Oh, you are young.
Yes, well, vampire like yourself, you would think so.
Wait, did you say vampire?
She said vampire.
Ooh.
Ha. Thank you.
No offense intended. It was meant to be more of a light-hearted comment than a serious accusation.
I don't
So,
usually
so
take-
holding your hands up in a wasn't meant to offend gesture.
None taken, it's just to be careful of. Well, we've only just met. So what are you then? You seem to hide it somewhat well.
It's one of the few reasons why I'm in the position I'm in, because I pass for what those who aren't particularly observant think is human. I'm sure you noticed the red eyes, slightly harder than normal nails, slightly sharper than normal nails. About the only indications of my fiendish heritage. You would call me a tiefling.
Why hide it?
I was lucky enough to be born looking close enough to human that I didn't realize until I was in my early teens that I was a tiefling, not a human.
I mean, I'm kind of assuming that in the Badlands people don't care.
People don't care in the Badlands. Arcadia, it's more
Yeah.
of a like.
I know, but just from Noah's perspective, she's still like, but why hide it?
Some people
Quirk
don't.
of birth rather than a choice that I necessarily make. I'm useful for what I know and what I can do, and most people don't pay enough attention to realize that perhaps they should treat me with the disdain that mundanes get treated with. Have I told you how much I hate Arcadia sometimes?
I usually can walk around completely fine in Arcadia, despite my heritage.
Personal hate and tieflings get treated kind of worse because, the association with devils and demons.
Used to just see as it is
Like-
otherwise.
Mr. DM,
Yeah.
thought his sort of hierarchy in Arcadia is like mundanes on the bottom, tieflings and races related to shit like demons and devils just above them.
I mean, implying mundanes actually even have a place in society. I mean, mundanes aren't even on the chart.
I mean, sometimes the Arcadians need manual labor.
I mean, that's what constructs are for.
Point.
Outsider races, it depends. They're treated as, not second-rate citizens. Depending on, how out there they are, or like how much they agree with their heritage, so to speak. So, I mean, yeah, you get a decent amount of tieflings which end up, attempting to start backstreet cults, sacrificing mundanes to, like, summon Orcus. But you sometimes get, tieflings that just, like to drink and relax and, fill out paperwork.
No one likes filling out paperwork.
Nobody
I mean,
likes filling out
paperwork
paperwork.
is the best thing in the world. What are you talking about?
Geas, for the rest of your life you will enjoy doing paperwork.
Geas only lasts a maximum of 20 days.
Mythic Geas. Welcome to the 9 hells. This is the 10th layer.
every point.
But no, it's to be honest, most magical races are treated better. So it's like, I want to say Feyborn, if you know what the term Feyborn means.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Feyborn and outsider-born races are generally treated pretty much the best, though if the outsider you're related to is like a devil or a demon, you're going to be looked at with a bit of suspicion, because it's just kind of like, well, you have like demon blood in you, so there's a chance that you'll just go insane and try and kill us all. I mean, I'd be discriminating if I said I believed that. But...
And this is why Piscari counts herself fortunate that she passes for human.
Whereas Muse don't give no fucks.
So there's a tiny bit of racism, but it's mainly like, you know, someone who's been like, yeah, look, I've been to the Nine Hells, the pretty shit place.
You're also not a native of Arcadia, Muse, so you wouldn't experience the same attitude. Outsiders get a bit of a pass so long as they're not mundane.
And
You know how it is.
And as long as I don't go around charming everyone in my path. At least, not magically anyway.
You appreciate how it is with some of the assholes. I mean, some of the honourable members of high society here in Arcadia. Takes a glance around to make sure no one else is particularly paying attention to the conversation.
Oh, I love high-standing society members. I tend to them a lot.
I
Whether
can
I
tell
belong
based
there or
on your
not.
outfit. Doesn't mean that I enjoy the way they treat people. That's can't change the system. You can only act the best they can within it.
Please ignore that.
So today I learned there's a magic circle against technology. There's a magic circle against technology.
Yes, there is.
Anyway, I'm itching to actually try my spell for once.
Please tell me the paperwork's pretty much done, Minson.
Yeah. I was just waiting for you guys to finish role-playing. Yeah, it takes about an hour, but then, yeah, the paperwork is done. A different person this time, a fairly young-looking elf comes in and is like, your paperwork's done, you've got room 32B.
32B, that's the woods are disabled on that room, right, in terms of scrying? Last I checked, divination shouldn't have been going out, that was on the request form.
Yep, up the stairs 3 times, second door on the left.
Appreciate your service, and the information that I
I'm already
requested in
heading
the other
past that
forms.
way towards the room.
Information should be on the desk in there. The boy, the sort of like elf lad just says.
Appreciate it. Thanks for expediting the request. And just head on up.
Gotta pay for that same day postage, I mean expedition, right?
Oh, are you saying that I need to pay him?
No, I'm just joking that expedition's basically like getting same day postage.
Yeah.
Expedition Prime.
Also known as screw you. Well, fuck the rules. I have money.
It's known as fuck the rules, I have bureaucratic power.
Oh,
What's everybody?
you basically use stamps to replace the post stamps, just bureaucratic stamps.
You could say I stamped my authority on it.
Yeah.
Taking stamp collecting to a whole new level.
What was
Gotta
that,
stamp
Ray?
them all out.
Right?
Where?
Sorry, yes. Both of you.
Whenever when everybody gets of the door,
Wait, cut out in the middle of that, sorry.
she's gonna stand outside the door once everybody goes.
Okay.
Pardon me?
Right. I'm going to get my own little area sorted to myself, put the mirror up, and and start the spell.
You do as such.
And as she's doing that, I'm going to grab. Like, how many books and scrolls are on the desk?
A small pile. Like 1 or 2 small sort of bound notebooks.
I'm going to grab whatever half the pile is, hand the other half to Nira and say, I'll save your time and look through myself. 2 heads are better than 1.
Thank you. I'll take the paperwork. Check that they're in languages I can understand. And start reading.
What languages can you understand?
Common, Oran, Aquan, Elven.
Not Arcadian.
Nope.
Do I overhear them having a little bit of an issue?
I take my helm off and stick it on her head.
Okay, that's that
comprehend
problem sorted.
languages. Comprehend languages helps you
Speak, not
understand
read, isn't.
spoken, not read. Would read magic help with that?
Or comprehend languages. You can understand the spoken words of creature or read otherwise incomprehensible written messages.
Ah,
The ability to read does not necessarily impart insight into material, merely its literal meaning. When able to understand or read an unknown language, not speak or write it.
so that's a
or
minus
read.
7.
Okay, I did not see the or read.
Okay, so that's just a +1. I think.
Wait, what?
I mean, technically, saves are auto succeed on 20s.
Yes.
Would I have been aware of it, Mint? Would Kai have been aware of it?
Kai would have been aware he's being scried.
Choose to fail.
He doesn't know who by.
Yeah. Doesn't know who by.
I'm going to choose... Kai is going to choose to fail for once and hope that it's his party. At the end of the day, wherever he is, if it's a Zayan, fuck it. He can die. If it's the rest of his party, fuck it. They were going to find him eventually.
Good damn, making me waste a nat 20 there.
I live to serve.
Well, you scry. And you start to see the figure of Kairos appear in the mirror. He seems to be taking shelter in a cave of some sort up in a mountain range. And you can see that there seems to be a blizzard blowing outside the cave.
Cast Detect Magic. Has a 5% chance. Was 5 times 9.
5 times 9 is 45.
45.
It's a 45% chance of succeeding through the sensor.
Gem roll 1d100. None.
And cast Message. Since I can keep this going for 9 minutes. This scrying. Again, 45%.
Message seems to fizzle.
Then I'll just, whilst they're all doing their bureaucratic bullshit, I'll just continue watching for the duration of the 9 minutes.
Seems fairly wounded, but seems to be like bandaging up his leg. You can see it looks maybe broken in one place, but he seems to be bandaging up and resting in this cave.
You said there's a sandstorm outside, didn't you?
Snowstorm, blizzard.
Oh, blizzard. Okay.
There are blizzards in a mountain range somewhere.
Okay.
As for the reading, I'm going to throw a read magic onto myself since it's a spam trip.
Gotta love the fact that, you know, the good spells are cantrips in 3.5 and Pathfinder. That salts me so much in the 5th edition
Also-
campaign I'm playing in.
Also, Minton.
Yep.
I realised that I'd accidentally taken Read Magic twice on my cantrip, so I swapped the second one out for Arcane Mark, which is what I was using to do the markings earlier.
Is that writing?
This spell allows you to inscribe your personal rune or mark, which consists of no more than 6 characters.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, fuck it. Every mage in Arcadia knows that one.
Duh. Plus, it's a magical mark. Why would you use mundane marks if you magically mark something?
Well, I mean, considering you can use Detect Magic to tell who cast it, you can verify.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm throwing Read Magic onto myself just to assist with reading in case I come across anything magical in the book.
Yeah, I would have done that too.
It lasts for 2 hours.
Whilst, since it's not actually concentration properly per se, I still can talk, can't I? Like, talk to them whilst I'm casting it.
Yep.
How long will this paperwork take?
I don't know, it's been like, we've been going through it for an hour. Have we found anything interesting?
I'm sure this was during the casting, because this is just trying to find the information on those maps
Yeah.
rather than filling out more forms.
This is before the hour.
Flicking through it, you managed to find a decent number. It seems to be a record of, like, birth certificates, people called Nere. Seems like there have been a decent number of Neres in the past.
I'm trying to... Being native to Arcadian, I'm trying to find my way to records dating to about 60 years ago, looking for outsiders, like non-Arcadians named Nere, that arrived about 7 to 5 decades ago.
Fair. Okay, this is the one time where I will admit that Pathfinder has some flaws. Because 3.5 had Investigate. 5e has Investigate, Pathfinder doesn't. And that salts me, kind of.
Could just do an intelligence check of some kind.
Ah, yeah.
Did you say intelligence check?
Ooh, it's gonna go so great. Another nat. No, that's a nat 14. Okay. Yeah.
Flicking.
I wouldn't be able to use a praise for this, would I?
Fuck it, yeah, sure.
My
Thank
appraise-
you!
My appraise is
Wait, what?
slightly better, but the roll is the exact same.
A praise scales off of int, friend.
Yep.
The one and only time you're allowed to use a praise. To read a goddamn book. I probably should say linguistics, to be fair.
Oh, I'm sorry, did you say linguistics?
These are all intelligence based.
That's a roll for 6!
You have a 17 in linguistics.
Yes.
How many ranks is that?
5.
Did you remember to gain your 5 bonus languages?
Yes, I did. There's a reason I speak 15 languages.
Oh, so you're not at the point where you have to put etc. in your language box.
Not
Get
yet.
on my level.
I'm at Common, Arcadian, Imperial, Kalish, Skargir, Scovan, Infernal, Abyssal, Celestial, Necral, Aurent, Sylvan, Draconic, Elvish, Dwarven.
Necro best language. But
What the fuck is necro?
Undead.
intelligent undead.
Okay.
Ancient language.
Like Sarul.
Although she doesn't actually know it, because she's a bit of a different one.
To be fair, I'd argue that Sarul probably know Necro.
And I will add that to the list. Although I don't know it.
Reading through all the books, you managed to find, like, there are a decent number of, what was it, Nere?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nere's around, some of them just, like, entertainers, some of them did, like, small amounts of research. You do manage to find, though, due to your obscenely high fucking ability to read a goddamn book.
I'm an Arcadian.
True.
If there's one thing the Arcadians are good at, it's reading a fucking book. You do manage to find references to a Nere who went to the Badlands about 60 years ago.
Cue table flip.
While I'm
As a
looking,
note, I'm 66 years old.
Went to the Badlands 70 years ago.
I'm using. I've got a notepad out. I'm using prestidigitation anytime I find anything to note the page number and information on it. And once I'm done flicking through, I'll spin that round and show it to Nuh.
Long story short, from all of your digging, you find out that there was a sorceress called Nere who went to the Badlands about 70 years ago. Was specializing in world magic, so like nature magic and whatnot. The magic of the earth itself.
And did it say what she did when she came back from the Badlands?
It says I'm trying to remember what it would say.
Could it say what kind of, like, what race she'd be, if she's from Arcadia originally, things like that?
Or would that be in Noah's book once I've found the record in my book?
But piecing it all together, you manage to find out that she's an elf.
Ooh.
Does it say where she is?
It seems as though she basically journeyed around the world trying to figure out how the magic of nature works, and you see basically the last thing written in there is attempting to gain access to Okashimi Archipelago.
Oh boy. Then once it's all said, I'm just going to summarize up and say, well, I found an interesting record that might fit the description of the woman you're looking for. Traveled to the Badlands about 70-ish years ago, shortly before I was born. Elf, studying the magic of nature, last seen attempting to access the Okashimi Archipelago.
That's the place that you guys destroyed, right?
No.
No? Where is it
Down
then?
here is the Okashimi Archipelago.
Oh, okay. Oh, yes, I couldn't see it. Okay.
The place that's not open to outsiders.
Okay.
How long ago was it that she was seen trying to access Okashimi?
About 50 years ago.
Oh shit, you're now making me need to check my own backstory notes, for fuck's sake. When was I there?
Yeah. That's the summary that between all the books Pescaria gives.
How long has this been since the spell I started casting?
It's probably just about finished the scrying now.
I'm just gonna ears peek a bit at Okashimi.
That's about all I can find between the books with my flicking through, unless you've managed to find anything different. That's the best I can do for you until the legend or request gets approved.
With my beautiful 16, I probably didn't find much.
You managed to basically find the note that, here's all of the Neres, and here's all of their races. Basically, you just managed to supplement the information that Pescaria found.
Okay. That's much more than she had an hour ago, so yay.
How many years ago was this to get to Okashimi?
About 50.
Okay.
Elf though, that's good. Means she could still be around. Because I think a human would not be.
Yeah, a human would be. If they weren't dead at this point, then yeah, they'd be ancient. By their standards.
Thank you for help.
That's what the outcasts are here for. How's the scrying going over there, Muse?
I'm just about done. As I turn around, sort of lean up against the wall next to the mirror.
Did you find him?
Do you want the good news or the bad news?
Oh, bad first, every time.
He's licking his wounds. The good news is alive.
Yeah, that was obvious from the bad news.
Licking his wounds.
Do you get blizzards in the Badlands at all?
Do we get blizzards in the Badlands at all?
No?
It's kind of more deserty.
I suspect as such. Then where in all of the gods' names is he?
Hey, Minton.
Mountainous region, snowstorm, licking his wounds, possibly broken leg. I'm
Hey,
not a doctor.
Minton, can I make a knowledge geography?
Yeah.
But since
It's my worst knowledge tied with engineering and religion and nature.
Now, if there weren't multiple snowy mountains in the world,
I can narrow it down to a few regions.
like maybe up near Finland, maybe somewhere in Skarg, somewhere up in Nordreich, Skova. It's getting close to winter, so maybe a high up mountain in the deep hold. Maybe somewhere in the circle around the Arena of Champions, apart from like the Alsasani region, or Kalsasani even.
Realistically speaking, we're thinking somewhere up at the very north of the world. I can't be more specific as to whether it's Skova, Nordreich, Skarg, or the north of Arcadia up here. That's not in the Badlands. Means at least the circle was able to grab him before he completely stepped too far away. Good to know the precautions still work on it. I'll have to commend the person who set that up for me eventually.
teleportation, as fun as it is, makes things so complicated sometimes.
Hey, at least the failsafes and defences we had that weren't disrupted by this Zayn scum that decided to interfere with such an intricate piece of magic worked. We haven't really had a chance to test them. You understand that's not really something we use the circle for.
Well, you are very welcome.
Yeah, the test is appreciated, though I would much prefer the system was never used at all.
Did I hear the Okashimi Archipelago, by the way?
That was the last known location of this Noe that Nohe is looking for. About 50 years ago.
I could have stumbled across her and never would have known.
You've been to Okashimi?
Once. 48 hours before I got caught and kicked out.
And here was me about to ask you what it's like there.
Exotic, from what little I saw.
One day you and I are going to have a sit down and share all the interesting places we've been and things we've seen. Today is not that day, so anything else you need to do here in the capital?
I can scry some more, but it'll take another hour.
Is it urgent?
I just like practicing my spells. There's a few people I'd like to, but I suppose there is a time and place.
And you probably don't want to exhaust your, top-end magic?
I unhook the mirror and put it in the handy haversack. I still have a lot of essence inside. I'm not very much a fighter, so if we do happen to find something out there in the wilderness, well, whether I have my spells or not is quite regardless.
Last I checked, shouldn't be anything particular to fight out there, but there's always the chance that we'll come up against some defense or creature that we didn't know about in the tower. No need to ask whether you've all teleported before you use the matching network. Is there
Also,
anything else you need to do in Arcadia? Well, I'm taking us about 500 miles.
Well, I have the information I was looking for. My next step, I guess, will be going south, but like I said, it can wait. And I suppose if Karoth escaped, he's going to be heading this way. So keeping busy is fine with me for the meantime.
I've been needing to get out of this city. I suspect all of you need an adventure, so last check. Anything you need to do here in the capital?
I guess I'm good, is what I'm saying.
you sort of just inspecting her nails and whatnot. I suppose whatever I can wish to pick up, I will retrieve on our journey back. It gives me time to think of what I need to pick up anyway. Scrolls, usually. I'd like to extend my arsenal.
Then, Minton,
Yeah.
I'm going to go ahead and cast Mage Armor and Shield on myself.
Fair.
I
Mage
still
Armor,
have,
you know.
yeah, I
Shield.
still have my mage armor going because
Oh no, Shield is 1 minute per level, never mind. I'm casting Mage Armor on myself.
mine is obviously still going because
Fair.
12 hours.
And then you're going to lead us out of the room somewhere safe and teleport.
Fair. Do we want to take a break here? Because I believe Mia has dags to look after or something.
Yes, I have a doggo. I will be back in 10ish, 15 max.
I need to go and use the bathroom, so I'll be right back.
Ditto.
Welcome back.
Thank you very much.
Like, the way I'm trying to play Pescara is much more towards the side of the liberal conservative split in Arcadia, more in the line of, yes, they're mundane, but that doesn't mean we have to treat them like shit.
Mhm.
But she also has to be careful because the company she keeps are very much the traditional, oh no, you're mundane, get out of my sight, little peasant.
I have returned.
Welcome back. I wasn't certain how I'll play Pescara until my conversation with Minton today, I'll admit.
Also, can I just say, the DM's guide for 5th edition contains rules for automatic rifles.
Yes, it does.
Can I also state that those rules are absolute garbage?
Yes, they are. There's a reason that the firearm that was in Curse's Stride doesn't exist anymore. Because I think the rules are stupid.
Minton, is there a rule against how many sun rods you're allowed to have?
No?
Okay.
You can buy as many, like, flare sticks as you want.
No, I need sun rods, but that works.
Okay, sun rods also work.
Okay. And I'm pretty sure I'm done, except for, just like what the basic equipment would be that somebody would start as a barbarian, which I can just look up.
I mean, you have like 108,000 gold to spend. I would know I've set up 2 level 12 characters recently. It's 108,000.
Right. So, automatic rifles do 2d8 piercing, have a range of 240 feet, that's its max range, have burst fire, which fires 10 bullets and lets me hit everything in like a cone or something? Okay, a 10-foot cube. And then
I'm working on it. So the answer was no.
right. So 240 feet is 73 meters, right?
Yeah.
The effective range for an assault rifle is 300 meters. So yeah, 1,000 feet is the effective range of a rifle. The max effective range. Sights are normally zeroed on 300 meters, I believe. Secondly, 2d8 piercing, and you're hitting against their regular AC.
Yeah, there's no such thing as touch AC.
Well, yeah, but, you know, a 7.62mm bullet would
2d8 is actually a lot in 5e.
I mean... as an arcane caster, I have access to Guiding Bolt.
I thought that's divine.
I mean, it is. It's cleric only. But the GM was a silly Billy and let Minton use homebrew. So do you know the DM's Guild, right?
Yeah.
Have you seen a class on there called the Artificer of Alancia?
Oh god.
So effectively, it's the meta campaign where we're playing ourselves. So the GM let us use the classless stuff off DM's Guild.
Hey, Minton.
Yeah?
Does a collapsible bathtub fit inside of a small tent?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Unfortunately, I'm not quite at the level for Magnificent Mansion.
As in, does a collapsible bathtub fit inside a tent when it's collapsed or when it's not?
Collapsed.
I mean, yeah, you could store, like...
No, when it's, like, folded out.
Oh, maybe, I guess?
Would a medium tent be preferable?
Yes, a medium tent would give you headspace.
Okay. That's fine, thank you.
But
Minton,
no. Oh, yeah?
before we go to the before we teleport, I'm going to use my consume spell feature. The only time I can do it for the day to eat a 5th level spell slot and gain 5 spell points.
Fair.
I don't eat my 6th level because those are my disintegrates.
I was gonna actually say whenever we get there, could we call it?
Well, I'm eating my spell slot anyway. Because, oh no, now I only have 4 teleports rather than 5. Whatever will I do?
I am more than fine with that. But obviously, you know, I thought there was going to be a fair amount more blah blah blah. So I only have up until where you wanted to go planned.
I mean, I'm sure there can be more conversation on the way out. It's just...
Yeah, I'm just gonna effectively say once you teleport, you arrive at the old rickety tower. Also,
I mean, how much of the history am I allowed to make up?
I'd say check with me first.
God damn it, you know I like to improv stuff like
I'm generally fine with improv. It's just
more just the kind of, oh yeah, the owner was said to be studying blah 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 years ago. Said that he did this and this and this, and he abandoned his tower for this reason, that kind of stuff.
Oh yeah, I'm fine with that. I mean, worst comes to worst, if there's something which is horribly game breaking, like if you go, oh, he also worked on weapons of mass destruction, I can just go, lol, your source was wrong. So, I mean, by all means,
but would I?
I don't know. What's a Jamie?
I would.
You're a 5th edition DM.
Yeah.
How would you rule sarin gas works in 5th edition?
What gas?
Sarin gas.
How do you spell that?
Sarin.
Colourless, odorless liquid. Used as a chemical weapon due to its extreme potency as a nerve agent.
So you know Saddam Hussein? It's suffice to say that the meta campaign I'm in got really, really dark, really quick.
The meta campaign that you're in, that you just mentioned, Saddam Hussein, 5 minutes ago, you said you're playing yourselves as a character?
Yeah.
So are you calling yourself?
I would say...
Oh, no, someone else is making the sarin, I'm making the AK-47s.
I would say high DC save against poison, become poison exhausted, dead, probably across 3 saves.
Got paralysis in there as well.
Welcome back.
What's an SP when it's saying... No, sorry. Yeah.
Aspie is Asperger's.
No, SP.
Oh, SP,
supernatural.
silver pieces.
Oh.
That.
Well, in the value, it doesn't let me put a silver piece.
0.1 GP.
Wait,
0.1 GP is a silver piece.
what's
Yeah,
not?
suffice to say...
0.1.
Oh, thank you.
0.1 silver is...
a copper.
Yeah, and 0.1 gold is a silver was what I meant.
Okay.
It's suffice to say that the meta campaign has gotten interesting, I guess is the phrase.
I think you also have to take an automatic point towards evil every time you use it.
I mean, so there's this area called the Lowlands, right, in the campaign.
And your beard slightly grows every time.
This is all on recording.
I mean, it is. I mean, if anybody listens this far, then by all means, you are the hero that I neither deserve.
As a note for any Veget menacing government agency listening, we only know him because he did it for us. We are not associated with anything. He's doing a meta campaign, and this is not any real plans we are involved in. Thank you very much. Fuck off, you.
Well,
NSA.
yeah, there. I had to put my car in a bag for her to hand out.
Code. It's all code.
I mean, if the NSA have like a secret program where I get teleported to a high fantasy world, by all means. What's that? It's not Gate. Gate is similar to that, but there's a show where there actually is a project. It's not Welcome to the NHK. That's about like government spying.
What's the fraction for a copper piece? Gosh, dog it.
0.001.
0.001.
If a gold is $1, a copper is a penny, and a silver is a nickel or a dime.
Copper would be 0.01 because 10 copper to a silver, 10 silver to a
yeah,
gold.
but what's 10 pence? What's the American equivalent of 10 pence?
10 cents.
10 cents.
It's got a name, like, isn't it?
It's like a dime.
It's a dime.
Oh, it's a dime, yeah. If a gold is $1, a nickel is a dime. Oh god.
Okay, it's
god.
It's 0.01. Got it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Anyway.
You're welcome.
Anyway.
Currencies.
So,
It's like,
is
oh my
everyone
God.
finished with what they needed to do in the room of fuck you and your paperwork? Especially your paperwork.
Can I just say, what's happened to Europe? Why is everyone using Monopoly money now? Now even the UK's using Monopoly money.
Anyway,
We're not.
Anyway.
Switzerland is using real money. And keeping everyone else afloat. Looking
Good old
at you, Europe.
Good old Swiss bank accounts.
Yeah,
anyways,
full of foreign money.
Go on, Minton, take it away.
I guess we'll continue where we left off. You guys were just leaving to go and find somewhere to teleport.
as we head out, I'm going to say to the rest of the group. So, because you know how paperwork is, and I don't particularly want to see new acquaintances getting slapped in jail because of breach of protocol. What would it be? 67B84 damage to Arcadian property, or 69B38 damage under supervision of Arcadian officials. Basically, what we have to be aware of is we're not allowed to just blast through walls or smash holes and stuff, and especially don't damage anything. Find anything of particular value, will be compensated fairly, whatever the bureaucracy decides fairly means. We will get monetary value for whatever we bring out. And basically, tally everything, try and note down as much as you can where it was. If we do end up taking it, it's good to know. And try not to inflict too much damage, though I'm sure I can get minor damage hand waved. I'd rather not have to deal with the bureaucracy going, why did you destroy this priceless ancient tower, which we didn't care about apart from just to throw paperwork in your face.
I lean towards Gorthon and say, should we tell her how the last ruin ended up?
No?
Probably for the best.
Yeah.
I am wondering if
They just
my
keep on walking.
comprehend languages is dysfunctioning because half of what she said I did not get. About the
Sure.
whole numbers and forms and stuff. No, was like chicken? Yeah, that's still working.
Apologies, we had to memorize certain codes as to which paperwork thing meant what, and basically there's a load of rules involved in exploring stuff in Arcadia that I find incredibly tedious, but it's the only way I got permission to go and explore these, and I'd like to explore more in the future.
No blowing stuff up. Noted.
Please. I want to get permission in the future to explore more ruins.
There is a big grin on Muse's face that she is not bothering to hide.
And I will absolutely not hesitate to make magical records that prove that it was you that did the damage, despite me giving you this warning, and that I tried to stop you, which would be you in trouble with the law.
Oh, believe me, it won't be the first time.
That may be so. I'd still rather not have to deal with another pile of paperwork, and you don't seem like the type to particularly want to force me to do so. Please.
Well, third time lucky for me, that's all I have to say.
I have to say, I'd have to give you the warning. I would like to actually have a group to go and explore stuff with and get out of this blasted city and away from all the paperwork. Not have more paperwork dropped on my head while I'm on holiday.
I get it, you need babysitters. And if the worst comes to worst, and we happen to do break everything, well, you can teleport us quite far away into a different country.
You know, we
You're
might just
not
end up as friends after all.
You're not helping Muse.
Piscaria, you can't see her grinning, but you can imagine the grin. You know, we might just end up friends after all.
Just pre-warning, not to the Empire. I'm still losing a bit of heat from the last time I was there.
Fine. Fine. Not the Empire. Then from the tower, you head to Vala. I really had to, I could go to Dynus, and from Dynus up to Skarg. Since you really don't want to go through the Empire, I don't think I can make the jump straight to Kasasani. Would have to stop in at Zwerk, and then I could get us to Alotamini. Or we would
Work
have
it
to stop in
out.
at the Empire.
But until then, I suppose I may as well make the most of this trip. Maybe there might be something interesting there for me.
Oh, and were there any particular magic items you're looking for in the store? She's leading you away somewhere that's, a safe place to teleport from, rather than in the center of the building.
I need to sell a magical item that is probably not worth too much here. And I was also inclined to buy some scrolls, but I still need to think and consider which ones I want to pick up.
I've been itching to try my hand at crafting a few more powerful magic items, although the components aren't cheap, which is part of why I want to go to this expedition and get some monetary value so I can actually afford the component. But that then means downtime in my workshop and
I might eventually want to get these boots replaced with something a bit more useful, but it's really not a priority.
We'll see. There's a particular necklace I've got in mind that, while I'm not massively interested in using it, I'm sure someone that can't just fireball every problem in their way might find more useful.
Will you stop for a moment? Do you think there will be bloodstains in that tower?
Hard to say. Says that the wizard that made the tower. I don't think he worked with anything involving living creatures or blood, but there's a chance. Said he abandoned his tower by choice, not forced out, but there's potentially some bloodstains. I wouldn't count on it though. It said he abandoned the tower a couple hundred years ago, so everyone dried up.
Never mind. I shall add that to my list when I come back then.
Any particular reason you're looking for bloodstains?
I can use it for tracking.
I'll keep that in mind. There's a few other ones more recent nearby that might be. You might find something interesting. This way. And she leads you, I guess, it's down an alley towards somewhere that's at space enough to teleport to and from. Right. You've all used the Mage Circle. This is a more direct teleportation spell. I'm used to working with the Circle, but compared to that, this feels relatively boring. Are we all ready for the teleport to the tower?
Sure.
And again, staff in one hand, hand outstretched in the other. Grab hold, you need to be in contact for the spell, and as soon as you're all holding on, we'll teleport.
And it flashes red when it goes to the abyss.
God damn it, it was him all along.
I really hope not. I can't get us back out of another plane, so I would be extremely disturbed if we ended up on them.
There is a chance we end up absolutely nowhere where we wanted. I just want to make this clear.
And there is a chance, yes, but 3% chance, and I can teleport 3 more times today. I've been to this tower enough that it shouldn't be a problem.
Very well. I put my hand on Nur's shoulder.
I will allow you to have studied it carefully.
Study carefully, haha.
Oh well, what did you think?
I was gonna say, yeah, study carefully. I don't feel at home there. Yeah, study carefully. So that's a 3% chance.
I mean, you've been playing together for a while, haven't you?
Yeah.
So it wouldn't
study
be-
carefully. Okay, 5% chance of being off target, 1% chance of a mishap.
Give me that D100.
Okay.
Come on.
Come
No,
on.
no. You gotta roll it in roll 20.
Fuck you! I just rolled a 19 in real life.
Yeah, but I have to see it.
We can take a photo. I'm fine.
Oh, that's a shame. Poof! You are. You feel a bit of inertia, a bit of like, your stomach being turned upside down 50 times. But, you find yourself standing in front of a crumbling tower, the tip of which is poking out of a deep forest surrounding it.
How tall is the tower?
Like 5 stories, if not more.
Okay.
Sort of leaning to its side, very very haphazard construction.
Okay. Does it have a basement?
You've not actually been inside, though you'd presume as such.
Okay.
I'm gonna be spamming detect magic.
Yeah.
Just unless we're in heavy combat, consider that it's kind of always up.
Anyone, before we go in here, that if it's dark is going to have problems seeing?
No shrugs.
Lavender? Muse?
I can see in low light.
I can see better than most.
While everybody was inside that room,
Just
time to go get all her stuff, I'm gonna assume Lavender had time to get the stuff she needed.
Yeah, Lavender would have
Okay.
had time to grab all that stuff.
Alright, so she takes out a shield, kind of takes like some type of rod-looking thing, shakes it up like if it's a glow stick, and puts it into her boss, and then shows like that it's light, and then looks over at the party kind of like with an expression of good enough.
Works for me.
That works. I can see in any kind of darkness, including magical kinds, so if we do happen to trigger a darkness trap, give me time, and if I can't dispel it, I'm sure I can figure it out. Very useful ability. Anyway, it said that the wizard who created this was, what my sources say, conjuration, enchantment, wasn't much illusion, wasn't necromancy, wasn't working with living things. Tower's a couple of 100 years old, says it has a basement, you can see the stories in the forest. Beyond that, I've wanted to explore it, but Arcadian bureaucracy has said that I have to take a group with me. That's about as much as I know. I have ways to get us out if we come into problems. Don't worry, I can hold my own in a short fight. If we need to sneak around stuff, I can make us all invisible.
Conjuration enchantment. Maybe I will find this tower a bit more interesting after all.
That would be, I assume, why she would be interested in it. Those two schools she has kind of an interest in. Yeah, she's more conjuration evocation, but it's the conjuration she's interested in.
Let's go then.
Oh, and if you do happen to find the wizard's spellbook or pages from it, please pass them this way. I've been dying to add new spells to my book for a while.
Hides erase spell.
Please don't.
Probably won't.
And if you really get into trouble, I can blast a section of the wall out, but I really, really don't want to deal with the paperwork. So,
I mean, if it comes to that, I can always use my elemental body. That gives me a. Actually, it doesn't give me a. No, it gives me Earth Glide. I can get out of anywhere in this tower, probably.
And if we really get stuck in a bad situation, I can teleport us back to my office. My home in Arcadia.
I have dimension door to get out of the tower itself, so
It might be the tower is warded against teleportation in or out. Just something to be aware of. Old mages were particularly paranoid. If it doesn't work, try and get to me, and they should be able to handle it. Wards, magic rings, stuff like that, kind of specialty. Comes with working. Yeah. Anyway.
No, your message spell will be stronger and more lengthier than mine. Do you mind?
sure.
How many people can message be cast on?
The whole
Okay,
group.
you don't need me to message. One creature per level, okay.
Yeah.
And it lasts 2 hours for each of us because 4
Yep.
mages.
Whereas I only get an hour and a half.
I'm gonna refresh the duration of read magic on myself as well.
Very well. Well, with you guys entering the tower,
I'll also have read magic on me. But
that is
Yeah.
where we're gonna call it.
Okay.
Because then we can begin next session with the dungeon crawl.
with the monkey.
With the Monkai.
Which I would assume would be out of his bag of holding when I cast message.
Yeah, you just open up the bag of holding, reach in, tap him on the head.
Oh shit.
How much Minton would be a serving of tea that you would like travel with, like tea leaves and tea making stuff? They didn't have a price. It just said like what the tavern would have.
As in to make it.
Like, if you were traveling around, like with the tea.
set.
Yeah.
But
Her new character's British, confirmed.
Mia approves.
characters British must invade foreign soil
No.
and claim his colony.
Character's Asian.
Can we start with the tower?
He's right.
I'm gonna cut the recording.
Perfect.